you. All right. Well, welcome everyone to Platoon's Charlie Platoon evening and weekend graduation. So we're going to see a bunch of demos in a couple minutes, but I'm just going to briefly kind of introduce you to what the evening and weekend program is at Platoon. Just give you a little more context. So it's a 6-month, fairly grueling 20-hour week boot camp where students learn to go from basically nothing. Some people have previous experience, but we kind of assume start from nothing, and we build up to the point where, as you'll see in the capstone presentation shortly, we're developing. The students are developing pretty impressive full stack applications. So I just like to congratulate all of them right off the bat. 6 months, 20 hours a week with other work and family responsibilities and everything else is no joke. So just the fact that you made it at all is impressive. And I think the presentations and the apps you've made are also extremely impressive and speak for themselves. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good part. But yeah, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Chad Mowbray. I'm one of the instructors here, and I'm joined by.
Yep, I am Tom Preet. I'm also an instructor here at Platoon as well.
All right, and we were assisted by our 2 TAs who joined us and helped out throughout the program, Omar and Sam. All right. So the way this works is all the students have gone through the course, and at the very end, as a capstone project, they get broken up into groups and they develop an app basically on their own. So we have 4 groups and 4 apps. There's the TR app, Through the Lifting Glass, Ahead of the Game, and Parents and Parks. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to hand it off to the first group. That'll be the TR app, and you guys take it from there.
Good morning. Many of us are beginning the process of searching for new jobs and opportunities. We wanted an easy, concise, consolidated process to search, track, and document opportunities for new employment. Our product is TR App, a job tracking application. Before we talk about our application, I'd like to introduce the team. My name is Everett Yeckley, and I am a U.S. Army veteran, currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm David Tetro, a U.S. Army veteran from Gulf Shores, Alabama.
My name is George Prius. I'm a United States Air Force veteran from San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Will Compton, active duty Navy out of Virginia Beach, Virginia.
I'm Felipe Lopez, United States Marine Corps veteran, living in Denver, Colorado. Tracking application, or TR app, is for job seekers who need an efficient way to track the job search process. TR app is a task and document tracking application geared towards job seekers and is a one-stop shop for organizing and tracking your job search needs. The key benefit of this is consolidating all processes of the job search in one location with an easy-to-view display. This application was designed to allow job seekers to be able to quickly access jobs, contracts, notes, and documents in one central location that can be accessed from any device with internet access. Will is going to give us a demonstration.
Thanks, Felipe. Good morning. Just 1 second while the video comes up. I'm going to demo our app with our user account, Thomas Shelby. I was first enticed to the landing page, which advertises TR App's primary features. From here, I can register, but since I already have, let's jump straight to logging in. I'm taken to my job board for a quick snapshot of my job search progress. Each position is placed in the wish list, applied, interview, or offer categories, and can be updated with a simple drag and drop. I can search for jobs through the integrated USA Jobs API. From here, with a few quick clicks, I can save jobs I'm interested in to both my job board and job list. My list shows everything I have saved from the job search feature and also allows me to manually input jobs. Once a job is added either manually or through the search feature, here's where I go to see additional information, edit, archive, or delete jobs that I am no longer interested in. I can also add reminders, contacts, and other helpful information to the notes section because my memory isn't what it used to be. In addition to these cool job tracking features, I can do a quick check of the weather. Wow, that looks hot. I definitely need to put on some extra deodorant for today's interview. I can check my commute time with integrated Google Maps to ensure I arrive 15 minutes early, because if you're on time, you're late. And lastly, I can update my profile and about me because my elevator speech could really use some work. TR app has really increased my efficiency and helped me on my way to making the big bucks. Now I'd like to hand it over to George to discuss technologies we used.
Thank you very much, Will. So the technologies that we use, first, we use React for the front end, and we use the Django for the back end. For our databases, on our local machines, we use SQLite, and our deployed version, we use PostgreSQL. And we also opted to use Amazon Web Services to host our pictures and documents. We use Preer and PEP8 for formatting purposes, and we use Heroku to deploy. And we also automated these processes using GitHub Actions. We use Figma, GitHub, Zoom, and Slack for communication, and we use Git for version control, sorry. Now I'm going to pass it on to Dave, who's going to talk about our obstacles and challenges that we faced through making this application.
We faced many challenges in the few weeks given to complete this application. Being a weekend and evening program, everyone has a full-time job and a family. We all worked remotely across 4 time zones. Collaborative and project management tools helped set the scope, keep everyone on the highest priority tasks, and prevented missing or duplicated efforts. Many of the APIs we targeted to integrate were deprecated or cost prohibitive for the scope of this project. Fortunately, we were able to use USA Jobs to search jobs and update the application database. We architected our application using React as Django templates. This is not a common way of setting up a full stack application. It made deployments, GitHub Actions, and testing unique, which took some time to make all work correctly. Once we got all the pieces working together, it provided benefits such as the ability to test the application as a single unit and a single repo as opposed to separate front and back end. It also made collaboration and managing the project easier. We knew the front end and back ends were always working together. I'd like to bring you back to Everett to discuss the future of our application.
Thank you, Dave. Time was our biggest constraint. We had many features we wanted to implement, but focused on prioritizing the most important. In the future, we would like to add in additional integration to other job sites, make the application more responsive, especially for mobile devices, create a repository to keep job-related documents such as resumes and cover letters, flashcards with common interview questions, add a message board for users to chat about jobs, add third-party authentication, and create a separate table for the notes related to job for better control. This concludes our presentation. On behalf of the TR App team, we'd like to thank you for your time today. We'll take a few minutes if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, TR App team. Yeah, so I think we have time for a couple questions. So maybe if a couple of you guys could talk about, let's say, the most rewarding or enjoyable part of making this app.
So for me, the most rewardable, the best part of making this app was basically coming up with an idea, doing a mock-up for it, completely creating something from start to finish and watching it all along the way. And we have a finished product at the end. So it's kind of rewarding in that way.
Yeah, for me personally, when I see the code, I know that's something that back in December, it would have confused me completely. I wouldn't have been able to understand it at all. And the fact that we wrote it together, it's something that for me is just incredible.
I'll jump in real quick too. For me, it was working with this team. It was great. Everybody jumped in. It made the experience very enjoyable. It was a lot of work to get done in a very short amount of time, and everybody just kicked in and did what they needed to do. That was probably the best part about this project.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great app. And by the way, the links to these apps are in the description. So feel free during the presentations, if you want to take any of them for a spin, you can click down below in the description. All right. Let's move on to Through the Lifting Glass.
Hello, and welcome to Through the Lifting Glass, a high school weightlifting team management application. My name is Kevin Belk. I'm an Air Force veteran. I was responsible for front-end features and back-end functionality, one of which was the max lifts.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Lintel. I am an Air Force veteran. I was responsible for front-end features, back-end functionality, which included the user interface and the chat. Our teammate Juan Laporte is a Marine veteran, was responsible for front-end features, back-end functionality, and is unable to be with us today.
Hi, my name is Devin Glonner, and I'm an Army veteran. I was primarily responsible for the backend, including the authentication system.
Hi, my name is Melissa White, and I'm a military spouse. I was responsible for developing front-end features and back-end functionality, one of which was the visual representation of the lift data. Our group created the web-based application Through the Lifting Glass. Through the Lifting Glass is a web app for high school weightlifting teams. Through the Lifting Glass allows coaches to track their team roster, athlete progress, disseminate information, and communicate directly with the team. Athletes have the ability to track their personal progress, get team updates, and communicate with their teammates. So why Through the Lifting Glass, or as we call it, TLG? Let's talk about what sets TLG apart from other apps. Unlike other team management applications, TLG focuses solely on high school weightlifting teams, where they are often not included in other apps. Through the Lifting Glass is a one-stop shop for everything high school weightlifting teams need to ditch the old pen and paper for team management. Now let's see how Through the Lifting Glass works. I will now pass it off to Stephanie, our newest user of TLG, to present the demo of our app.
Thanks, Melissa. Hello, everyone. I am on the Ponte Vedra Sharks weightlifting team, and I've just logged into the Through the Lifting Glass app. I'm going to the dashboard where I have access to all of the amazing features this app has to offer. I worked out with my team this morning and I need to log my lifts. So I'm going to navigate to log a lift in order to enter my lift session. I will select one of 4 Olympic lifts. I did snatch this morning. Enter the weight, an impressive 135, and finally select today's date. After I submit my lifts, I'm going to navigate to see your progress, to see where I'm at. Since I'm already a frequent TLG user, I have a lot of lifts saved. I have the ability to view all of my lifts in the data grid and in the chart. I'm also able to edit and delete lifts in the data grid. I can order the lift history by date, lift, and by weight. I'm also able to isolate the chart by lift type for a simpler view. Man, I love seeing that line go straight up. So much progress. Now I want to see who's leading the team. I'm going to navigate to the bell ringers to see my team's max lifts or personal records. Hey, it looks like that lift I just added was a personal record. Awesome. I want to make sure to stay up to date on recent information from my coach. I'm going to view post to make sure I haven't missed any updates. Oh, it looks like my coach posted about an optional practice tomorrow. I'm going to navigate to the calendar to make sure I'm up to date on all the events. There I can see where the practice has been added for tomorrow. I'm hosting a team bonding event on the 29th, so I'm going to add that to the calendar now. Let's see, the 29th, I'm doing a team bonding event, and I think I'm going to do dinner at my house. I am totally serving tacos. Fantastic. Now, I can only attend this practice if I can get a ride with someone. So I'm going to navigate to chat to ask my teammates if someone's able to give me a ride. Let's see. Hey, can I get a ride tomorrow to practice? I really hope someone's there. Oh, fantastic. Lincoln can give me a ride. Finally, I have an image to upload from this morning's lift. I'm going to navigate to the image gallery to post it for my team. Let's see. I'm going to upload the image. I'm going to select one from this morning and click it to upload. Great. Now I'm going to pass it over to my coach, Kevin.
Thanks, Stephanie. After signing in, I'm brought to the landing page where I can access my coach dashboard. This page includes a team roster, allowing me to order and filter first and last name, grade, and weight class. Since I frequently need paper, I can export and print all of my team information. I'm going to go to the Progress tab to check on my team. Here I can view the athletes and their current maxes. I know that our next meet, we're competing in clean and snatch, only clean and snatch. So I'm going to simplify the view and only see those lifts. I'm impressed to see so many heavy lifts. I want to post a workout for the athletes that can't make it to practice night. I'm going to navigate to the info board and make a post. Did you make it to practice tonight? Squat 20, lunges 20, push-ups 23 times through. Post that. And that concludes our demonstration. Now I'll talk about the technology we use to build our application. The technology we use to build our application include the following. The front end, we use JavaScript, React, Redux, and Material UI. For the back end, Python, Django, and the Django REST framework. We used a Postgres SQL database, and for hosting, we used AWS and Heroku. Additionally, we used the Stream API for our chat functionality. Now I'm going to pass it off to Devin, who will discuss some of the challenges we faced during the development.
The earliest challenge we faced was determining the scope of the project, trying to decide on the target audience of our application, as well as what functionality it should include. We overcame these challenges by carefully developing user stories early on and revisiting them whenever we had to make a major decision in development. Ultimately, this steered the direction of our app to focus on saving and tracking lift data instead of a more generic workout app. Another challenge was learning and implementing new libraries such as chart.js, full calendar, and Redux. We collaboratively researched, selected, and learned about each of these libraries and relied on each other when we were faced with a blocker. Additionally, determining how we wanted to display lift data for a user-friendly experience was another challenge we faced. Using similar procedures, we made group decisions frequently referencing user stories. Now let's take a look at our workflow. Slack and Zoom allowed us to stay constantly connected. We followed the agile development process to meet deadlines and deliver an MVP as quickly as possible while building on it incrementally. Using our Trello board during each stand up and stand down kept development on track and ensured even distribution of tasks, as well as clearly visible and outstanding features that needed to be developed. While we each had features we focused on, our group synergy and effective communication allowed us to collaborate through all stages of development. Finally, GitHub made it easy for us to keep code up to date and cohesive as we collaboratively made changes throughout the development. Future changes we would like to make. Future changes we'd like to make include adding to our sprints the ability to track event and practice attendance, expanding the chat feature to include direct messaging, and develop TLG in React Native for mobile deployment. This concludes our presentation of Through the Lifting Glass, and we're available for any questions.
All right, Through the Lifting Glass, thank you very much. Yeah, so actually one question that I had was, can you guys talk a little bit about the process you went through as a group going from, let's say, an initial idea to what you actually ended up implementing? Like, how'd you end up narrowing it down to that specifically?
Absolutely. So when we started coming up and brainstorming with this idea for this app, we absolutely ran all the ideas that we could come up with, made a huge list of features. We wanted to do anything and everything. We had a ton of great ideas. Sitting down to actually, what do we need with a mural board? What's our needs? What's our must-haves? What's our should-haves? We turned around and decided that we really needed to focus on what our core MVP was in order to make sure that we could get something produced. From there, once we had the core MVP, which ultimately was tracking and displaying lift data for athletes, from there, we turned around and were able to start building on incrementally and adding features that we wanted, that we thought would best fit the app.
Okay, great. So I'm curious, how did the debate process go for choosing, one feature over another? If you guys had so many features, how did you kind of come together and decide on, implementing one thing versus another?
Ultimately, it was a group decision in the fact that we established where to start to keep our focus very small as far as the MVP, and then added solely what's important, what this needed, and what would be nice to have for the app. And then anything that was a real nice to have, we added to, maybe we can do this and plan to do this in the future.
All right, cool. Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to our third presentation, which is ahead of the game.
All right, thanks, Chad. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. We are ahead of the game, and my name is Chris Hicks. I'm currently active duty Air Force stationed at Scott Air Force Base, Illinois.
I'm Scott Rometta, current resident of Pittsburgh, PA, and U.S. Navy veteran.
I'm Latasha Wise, located in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm a U.S. Army veteran.
I'm Stephen Howard, Air Force veteran in Columbus, Ohio.
And I'm Dan Miller, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran working out of Richlands, North Carolina. And today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to our full stack web application, Ahead of the Game. Have you ever missed an amazing game or performance by one of your favorite teams or athletes? Or maybe you plan to watch the game on delay, only to have it spoiled by one of those overbearing alerts by one of the big sports networks. What if you could manage notifications for all your favorite teams and players in one user-friendly web app? Look no further, because regardless of the situation, our app will make sure that you stay ahead of the game. Ahead of the Game is an all-in-one sports event notification management application. Ahead of the Game allows users to take control of their sports notifications by storing them in a centralized location. Once games are added to the calendar, users can enable text notifications for each event. Users also have the option of joining a chat room that is open to users who have added that same event. This means that users can interact with fellow sports fans and live every moment as if they're at their favorite bar or stadium. Now for a live demo of Ahead of the Game, I'm going to pass it off to Chris.
Thanks, Dan. Let's get started. So first, we have this pretty sweet landing page here. Now we're going to go explore Ahead of the Game, see what we can do. This is our dashboard. Right now it's populated with St. Louis Cardinals games. So I'm an avid sports fan. I love to watch all my favorite teams, but I absolutely hate when I miss a game that I really wanted to watch. Ahead of the Game offers this calendar component that syncs with your own Google Calendar. And right now we are going to go see how we can add more events to it. We'll go to the search page. You can choose by sport here. We're going to go click on Texas Rangers maybe the Dallas Cowboys and the Nashville Predators. Then we'll just go up here, add those events to our calendar, and we're navigated to this events page. Each one of these cards here has the teams playing, the sport it is, the location, date, time, and then later we'll talk about the chat functionality and how to remove events. Right now, we'll go look at these on our calendar view, which is our dashboard. So all those games are populated here. There is a game on August 5th, the Cardinals versus the Yankees, that I know I won't be able to watch. So we're going to go back to the events page and see how to remove that from our calendar. I'm going to find that game on August 5th. Cardinals, Yankees. Looks like that's it right there. And just click remove event. And now that will reflect on our calendar right there. It's gone. And we'll look at that in the weekly view, a little easier to follow along. Cool. However, I know there is a game where the Cardinals play the Yankees again on that Saturday that I definitely don't want to miss. So we're going to go back to the events page and check out that chat functionality. Find that game, click go chat. And we're navigated to that chat. Looks like we're the first ones here. Ask a question. Maybe if anyone knows if Adam Wainwright will be pitching. Hopefully someone responds. Yes, someone did respond. Looks like it's Ken Griffey Jr. That's pretty random, but thanks for responding anyways. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for him. Slow typer, sorry. Now, after this, we can go to the account page and see how we can schedule those text notifications. All you have to do here is click that check mark, save changes, and we should get a text. Yep, right there. You're now subscribed to Ahead of the Game text alerts. Awesome. Thank you for following along, everyone. Now we're going to hear from Scott with the technologies we used.
Thanks for the great demo, Chris. We used a lot of different technologies to get everything working the way we wanted. For project management, we use Mural for our Moscow board to list our must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. And we use Trello for our user stories and to keep track of tasks. For version control, we use Git and GitHub. For our backend, we use Django REST framework. And for our database, we use PostgreSQL. For our front end, we used React coupled with CSS for styling. Some of the APIs we used were Auth for authentication. We used the Google Calendar API to interact with event subscriptions and display them on the embedded calendar in the dashboard. We scraped sports data from the NHL and MLB APIs to use for our events. For the event chat room, we use the Firebase chat API, and for text notifications, we use the Twilio API. We hosted the front end and back end of Ahead of the Game on Heroku. I will now hand it off to Stephen to talk about some of the challenges we faced while creating Ahead of the Game.
Thanks, Scott. The first challenge we faced was clearly articulating user stories. It wasn't that we didn't have a great vision for the application, it was that we didn't know what our technical limitations would be. We spent a lot of time researching where we would get the data for the team's schedules. Originally, we wanted to select events based on individual players. This added a layer of complexity that didn't fit the scope of this release. Additionally, we weren't sure how much control Google Calendar would allow us, how permissions would work, who would be the owner of the calendar, us or the end user. But once we had a foundational understanding of the tools we had access to, formulating what needed to be done became much clearer. This research process proved to validate the need of our app, as there wasn't a sporting events API that centralized all of this data. Instead, we needed to aggregate several data sources ourselves. The next challenge we faced revolved around developing a process for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Our goal was to have our app hosted on Heroku and automatically updated as merges to the main branch were made. With the help of Dave Tetro from the TR app team, we were able to set this up quickly with GitHub Actions. The trouble came when database migrations were merged out of order and when we could get dependencies to work locally, but not when pushed to Heroku. For me personally, I learned the most from this challenge. This helped me develop a critical eye for code reviews. On a more comical note, we had a few personal challenges that weren't so funny at the time. Rolling power outages, sunburns from forgetting how to exist outside, and toddlers. Now, Latasha is going to discuss what additional features we would add with more time.
Thanks, Stephen. Future goals we have for ahead of the game are adding a Google Calendar listener, which will give the user the ability to delete an event on the Google Calendar, and it also replicates to the backend. The ability to follow individual players in more sports, live stream the game, stats provide a graphical display of the current game at the time, delete more than one event at a time, add links to betting odds and maybe to the team's websites, give the user a little more personal feel to the website so they'll be able to customize their text notifications based on their preferences, and maybe add the ability to add other calendars, for example, Apple Calendar. Thank you guys for attending our presentation. We're now going to open the floor for questions.
All right, thanks very much. Ahead of the game. Looks like we got one question in the chat. So what would you do different to avoid merge conflicts?
Stephen, did you want to take that one?
Sure. For me, what I learned to pay most attention to was if the database was touched at all, to make sure that that merge or that migration was in the correct order with the way tables worked. One easy way to test this without, detail reviewing it would be to just pull that branch down, run it locally, run the migration locally. Dependencies are a little tougher. I think really the solve there is kind of similar. Just be disciplined to pull down the person's branch, run it locally, and make sure it works.
Yeah, and I think to add a little more to that too, I think it would help if when we were creating those branches, we probably could have benefited from having smaller changes at a time, because sometimes we would change more than we meant to and pushed it up, and then that's where those merge conflicts occurred.
All right, cool. Yeah, focus PRs. That's important. Would you guys mind talking a little bit about, you said you had, you couldn't really find one API that met your needs. So how did you guys manage, pulling from multiple APIs and getting all that data together to perform as usable for your application?
Yeah, so it was really a manual process. Like Chris and I had to go in and we pretty much scrape as much data as we could, and we actually built out the APIs using REST framework. Chris can talk on a specific tool he used, but basically we just used scraping techniques and what data was available to then put into our own API. So when we were building out our pages, we had one consistent source of data, and it just made it easier to deal with it when we made those calls. So I know, Chris, did you want to comment on that library that you used?
Yeah, we created that API with kind of a mix of the MLB and NHL APIs, but then there was also this Python library called Sportsify, and it's got some pretty comprehensive data on there. There's a website called Sports Reference, and that's pretty much what they use to host to get all their stats. And they have like all the main sports, but we were able to leverage that to build out our API.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. And now we're going to move to the final presentation. Just as a quick reminder, you can play around with these apps. There are links in the description. So final presentation is going to be from Parents in Parks.
Thank you, Chad. Good morning, everyone. So we are team Parents in Parks. And before we start showcasing our app, I would like to take the time to introduce our team. I am Tressa Sharma. I currently reside in Huntley, Illinois, and I am an Army veteran.
My name is Anthony Lemke. I was in the Marines and I am out of Monticello, Minnesota.
I'm Josh Richardson. I'm currently a resident of Savannah, Georgia, and I'm a 10-year Marine Corps veteran.
I am Kyle Long, Sacramento, California, 4 years Marine Corps veteran.
And my name is William Kern. I'm a 5-year Marine Corps veteran, and I'm currently in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So how did we come up with the idea for Parents in Parks? Well, as parents, we know how challenging it can be to do things like find new friends, organize play dates for your kids, or even hang out with your friends who are also parents. And wouldn't it be great if there was an app that lets you quickly connect with like-minded individuals and organize meetups in a way that fits your schedule? Our solution to this is Parents in Parks, a social media web application where you can connect with individuals and families and organize meetups in locations near you. In Parents in Parks, you can find ways to relieve yourself of some of the social isolation that parenthood may cause. And now I'm going to pass it off to Tressa, who will be demonstrating our app.
Thank you, William. So I am a current registered user of Parents in Parks, and I've decided I want to schedule a meetup to take my kids out for a play date. So I'm going to go ahead and log in and get that meetup scheduled. I'm a little bit slow of a typer, so bear with me. All right, so once I've logged in, I get to my homepage and it has a lot of really great information, which I really appreciate. I notice that my upcoming events are in fact empty, which is why I'm here, so I can schedule that meetup. I also notice some other really great information. I noticed that my local weather is available to me, which is really useful if I'm trying to schedule an event, especially if I want to decide if it should be indoors or outdoors. Will I need an umbrella? Will I need to bring jackets or sweaters for the kids? So it's really useful. I also noticed some local events kind of scrolling through at the bottom. Do I want to take my kids out to maybe a show? So I'm going to kind of click through and see if I find anything. I noticed the Kidapalooza, so I'm going to go ahead and plan it. I'm kind of looking at it. I'm thinking about inviting a friend, but after second thought, I realized that maybe I don't necessarily want to go out to a large crowd right now. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. I then noticed my pending connections. These are people that have sent me requests to connect, and these could be people that I've met in my local community who we've talked about the app with, or just people who I've met through the app. Or who found me through the app. I can see their profile pictures and names and emails. I can kind of scroll through and see who's there. I'm not really interested in connecting with anyone just yet, but it has distracted me, and it has also given me inspiration to see, are there any new friends on the app I want to try to connect with? So I'm going to go to find friends and start kind of scrolling through that. This is a really nice feature. I'm noticing everyone's names, their locations, really importantly, their kids' age groups. I want to try to find some families that are similar age range kids. The other thing I notice are the personal interests and the family interests on each page, which is really important because while I am trying to set up a meetup for my kids, I'm also trying to connect with someone that has similar interests to myself, because this is meant for not just a play date for the kids, but also a way for me to get to meet other people in my community. So I came across Britt. I liked her profile. I went ahead and added her. So I'm going to go ahead and now look at my current friends list, and I'm going to look to see, who do I want to try to invite out to that meetup? I can see their names and their bios, and I noticed William. And so I'm thinking, you know what? I think I might want to send him an invitation out to a meetup spot. But as I'm going through that, all of a sudden I'm reminded I have to check my mailbox, see if I have any new messages. I'm looking. Oh, I do. In fact, I have a new message from Will. So when I go ahead and I open up that message, I can see that Will sent a very nice message saying, great job on the new app, which I truly appreciate. That was very kind of him. So I'm going to go ahead and send him a message back just as a thank you for being so kind and supportive. So I'm going to go ahead and select his name. I'm just going to tell him, short subject, thank you. And just, I really appreciate all that support. That was very nice of him. So once I go ahead and send that out to him, I remember the whole purpose I'm there for, which is to set up that meetup spot for my kids. So I'm going to go to the meetups And when I go there, I notice that I can either use my current location or I can use my profile location. I'm going to use my current one. I see my Google map and I can see a bunch of family friendly categories to select. I have 2 little boys who are very active, so I'm going to try and select a park here. And I know that they love to play sports, so I'm going to look specifically for an area for them to play soccer in. And I see Tommaso Sports Park. I can get the name, I can get the rating, so I know it's a good park. And I can see any images, and I'm going to go ahead and plan this. When I select the planet, I get the address, so I know the location. I also see that I can select the day and the time. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule this for tomorrow, Sunday. And the afternoon is probably going to be more ideal, so 1 p.m. I am going to send William the invite just to see if he would like to join us for that. And I'm going to submit that so that way I can get it scheduled. Once I've done all of that, I'm going to go ahead and head back to my homepage where I can now see that that event is in fact on my homepage, which is really nice. I can see the name, I can see the date and the time. The only thing missing is who I'm attending it with, and that's because I just have to wait for William to accept my invitation. I realize that I often forget things when you have small kids. That's easy to do. And so I'm thinking I might have missed an event that I had scheduled with someone. So I'm going to check my event board and see if I missed anything. Luckily, I haven't. It looks like it's just the event that I just recently scheduled. So that makes me feel good and a little bit relieved. I'm going to go ahead and check my profile also. Everything's up to date. I don't really need to change anything just yet. So it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page. I can hear my kids calling me. So I got to go ahead and log off real quick. And I got to go see what they're up to now that I've scheduled my event. And that is how you use Parents in Parks. So now that I've demonstrated how to use the application, I am going to go ahead and pass this along to Anthony, who will share with you the different technologies we used in that process.
Thanks, Tressa. We used all kinds of tech to help build Parents in Park. Some of the apps that we use to help with our collaboration would be Zoom, Slack, GitHub, Trello, VS Code, and a little bit of Copilot. For the front end of our app, we use React, which consists of HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and a little bit of Node. To design the front end, we use components from MUI and also React Bootstrap. Our front end is hosted on Netlify. For our back end, we use Python and Django. We use Django REST framework. Our database is a Postgres database hosted on Amazon RDS. Our back end is hosted right now on Heroku. We also use a few third-party APIs, including Auth0, Amazon Web Services S3 to host our images, Google Maps API, Open Weather API, and also SERP API. All of these apps worked really well to bring Parents Park together, although they did bring a few challenges. For that, I'll pass you off to Josh.
Thanks, Anthony. Some of the challenges that we faced while building our application included authentication and authorization. Initially, we ran into several issues getting our authentication resource to communicate between our front and our back end. But after digging through some not so clear documentation, we were able to solve it. Version control with Git and GitHub. While we were all comfortable using Git and GitHub as individuals, utilizing them together as a group presented its own unique challenges, such as merge conflicts and divergent branches. Our friend management system, figuring out how to properly store our pending friend requests, accept or deny those requests, then add the accepted requests into our friends list. And also just overall group-based projects, learning how to read others' code while also ensuring that the code that we write is clear and easy for the next user to understand. Although some of these challenges came with headaches and long hours, we were able to join together to come up with working solutions and in return, strengthen our knowledge as software engineers. Next, I'd like to hand it over to Ka, who's going to discuss some of our stretch goals.
Thank you, Josh. Here are some of our stretch goals. Enhanced security feature to protect members. Optional notification message when matched user is nearby. Sync calendar events to other third-party calendars such as iCal, Google Calendar, Outlook, and other third-party apps. Rate local events and attractions. Provide playdates idea based on interests. Picture library of past playdates. Location-based find friends options.
And that is Parents in Parks. On behalf of the team, I would like to thank everyone for attending our presentation, and we will now be open to some questions.
Great, thank you very much, guys. Looks like we've got a couple questions. So one is, how did you like working with GitHub Copilot? You just get to put your feet up and it writes everything for you.
We all kind of got a taste of it. So the Copilot is actually very nice, but it is limiting. It can sometimes try to predict code that you don't actually want, which then you have to be careful to go back and make sure that it is actually predicting what you want it to do. So while it was really helpful as a guide, you definitely have to pay very close attention to make sure that guide is sending you in the right direction. But when we would get stuck, and anyone else on the team who's used it can speak to this, it was a really nice, helpful hint to get you out of that stuck rut, which was really nice.
All right, cool. One more here in the chat. What would you do to make your application more mobile friendly?
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
What would you do to make your application more mobile friendly?
I can take this one. Overall, the app is pretty mobile friendly as it is. There are just a few pages that we would have to go through and restyle just to make it more responsive for the smaller screens.
All right, cool. And so I'm curious with an app like this. I think there are some maybe real world considerations that aren't strictly technical when you're dealing with kids and stuff like that. So I'm just curious, how did you guys deal with that? Was it things you wanted to do that you couldn't do? Did that influence how you went about things?
I don't mind speaking to that. So that's one of the first things we actually discussed, was because children were involved. On the homepage or the landing page, there is a safety section where we do basically try to say, like, this is not meant as like a babysitting app. You are not supposed to just like drop your kids off with strangers. One of the things, and one of our stretch goals, was that there are some APIs out there that allow you to kind of search registries to make sure that no one is trying to use the app who maybe shouldn't be using it. And something we wanted to research a little bit more is, how do we ensure the safety of that? We talked about, if we did use pictures, not using pictures of the children, making sure that was very clear that the privacy of the children was protected, and that the parents using the app understood, again, that this is meant to connect both parents and children, not just hand your kids off to strangers type of thing. So that was a long discussion we had, and one that we continue to have, about how to make sure this is as safe as possible, because obviously when your children are involved, you want to protect them at all costs.
All right. Well, great job, everyone. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I think these are some very impressive apps. 6 months of hard work and developing skill set, and then a real focused, crunch time to develop these. So I think you guys should be proud of yourselves. We're definitely proud of you, and yeah, we're excited to see, where things go next. What you guys end up doing. All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and congratulate each of our students individually. So congratulations, Anthony Lemke.
Congratulations, Christopher Hicks.
Congratulations, Daniel Miller.
Congratulations, David Tetro.
Congratulations, Devin Glauner.
Congratulations, Everett Yeckley.
Congratulations, Felipe Lopez.
Congratulations, George Prius.
Congratulations, Juan Laporte.
Congratulations, Josh Richardson.
Congratulations, Ka Long.
Congratulations, Kevin Belk.
Congratulations, Latasha Wise.
Congratulations, Melissa White.
Congratulations, Scott Rometta.
Congratulations, Stephanie Lentel.
Congratulations, Stephen Howard.
Congratulations, Tresha Sharma.
Congratulations, William Compton.
And lastly, congratulations, William Kieran.
All right, everyone. Great job. Congratulations. You should be proud of yourselves, and keep us posted on your successes.
Congratulations, everyone. Great job.